So all this time we have been using the term circuit elements. Okay, so what exactly the circuit element? So any element which can form a part of the circuit, that we call as the circuit element. Okay, so what are the various kinds of circuit elements that you already know? We have the resistance, it is represented by R. We have inductance, which is L. Capacitance, capacitor, this is C. And we also have voltage source, and we also have the current source. Okay. Now, can you tell me what is the difference between these elements and these elements? You can see that these two are something which gives power, which supplies power. Okay. So this is called as active elements. These both are called active circuit elements. Okay. And why are they called active elements? Because they are capable of generating energy on their own. Okay. Whereas these elements, these are passive elements, because they cannot generate energy on their own, incapable of generating energy. So once again there might be a doubt that how can they generate energy, because energy can neither be created nor it can be destroyed. Okay. So this can be easily understood if you visualize a machine, an electrical machine, generator. What will happen in a generator? You are giving it some mechanical energy, mechanical input, which is being converted into an electrical input. So we are basically transforming one form of energy to another form of energy. Okay. And these elements, they are capable of generating electrical energy from when some other form of energy is given. As simple as that. Okay. And these elements on the other hand, they are not capable of generating energy. Now in these passive elements, the resistor is slightly different from this inductor and capacitor. Okay. So what is the difference? The inductor and capacitor, they are capable of storing energy. Capable of storing energy. So they cannot generate energy, but they can store energy, and they can give out that energy when the circumstance comes. So for this reason they are also called as storage elements, or even they are also called as memory elements. Okay, if you go to digital electronics, you will see that they are often called as memory elements. Okay. Now in active elements we have voltage and current sources, right? Another classification that we have in active elements is independent source and dependent source. So what are these two? What is the difference between these two? So independent sources, these deliver the specified voltage or current which is independent of voltage or current through any other element which is present in the circuit. Okay. So this is usually represented by a circular circle. Okay. So this is the voltage source, let us say Vs, and this is the current source. There will be DC as well as alternating current sources. So if it is an alternating current, then you can simply write the alternating current symbol. Okay. So these are the independent sources. Now what about dependent sources? These are going to deliver the voltage and current depending on some other quantity. Okay. Delivers voltage or current which is dependent on voltage or current across some other circuit element. Okay. For example, We will take an example here. This is an independent voltage source. Let us have a resistor here, and here you have another voltage source. If the current in this circuit is I, and let us say the voltage here is 5I, then this is called as the dependent voltage source. Okay, because depending on this current, this is going to give voltage. The magnitude of the voltage that is given, that is supplied by this dependent source, is 5 times I, and I is the current through the resistor. Okay, so if you take it as R, it is the current through the resistor R. So where do you see dependent sources? Practically you see them in analog electronics, right? Most of the BJT, the transistors and everything, they are represented in terms of dependent sources. Okay, so they are all active elements. Transistor and all, they are the active elements, not passive elements. Now dependent sources, they can be of 4 different types, depending on which is the controlling variable and what is the source. So what is that? First one is the voltage controlled voltage source. Okay, so that means it is a voltage source, it is giving out the voltage. So you can see here that the representation, it is in the form of a diamond. Okay, so this is how you represent, how you differentiate between an independent source and a dependent source. Okay, so here you have a voltage controlled voltage source. So it is giving out a voltage which is equal to, let us say the voltage here is Vs. So this is equal to some A times Vx. So Vx is the voltage across some other element in the circuit. Okay. Second, we have current controlled voltage source. Okay. So this is also a voltage source. That means this is giving out some voltage Vs, but this is equal to some, it is proportional to some current in some other element. Okay. Next we have voltage controlled current source. So that means it is a current source, but it is depending on the voltage across some other variable. Okay. So Is is equal to CVx. And finally we have current controlled current source. So that means we have a current source, the current delivered is 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 equal to D times Ix.